Looking at answers to the first exam and notes on what people did wrong. I'm mostly just going to talk. Alright, so first we have commonly used functions, and I took about half of the ones we had used before. So what's the function to convert to floating point? The answer is float. It is not float parenthesis. So some people did do something like this, and that's not really as good because that's like calling the function, and it's also calling it wrong because you would have to have something in here like, right? So what is the name of the function? Float. Alright, the same thing, converting to integer is int. It would also be wrong to say integer there. There is not a function called integer. It's just int. Alright, get input from the user. Input, some people said print, but getting input is input. Writing to the screen, the better answer is print. If you said input, you could argue, but input does more than just printing. Fixing the syntax errors. So each of these had exactly one. This is the code that you had. There is an uppercase I. So all we needed was the lowercase I. On this one, there was a missing colon. So you just need to copy paste, put the colon, pay attention to your indenting. If you did this, that would be wrong because now you introduced another problem. This one here had a left parenthesis that was unmatched, so you could either match it right there or remove it. Either way would be fine. Asking a user for their favorite number, you should have seen this answer. If you didn't have a correct solution, then I did a sliding scale based on how close it was to being correct. And you can check the exam1.txt file. So the first time through grading it, these were notes on what was going to be on the exam, and then normally what I do is I put some grading notes in the same file. Okay, so back to the code. Loop to print the number integers from 20 to 100. I'm not sure why that is not showing up, so I'll give you that now. Most people got this. That would be the answer for that one, and you need to make sure if we want to go up to 100, then your range has to be 101. You could have also done this with a while loop if you wanted to, but that would be the answer. If you did this, that would be wrong. If you did this, that would be a mistake as well. Alright, printing the average of these numbers, you add them up and divide by 4. The parenthesis is needed. Giving Linux commands, you had to give the whole command. So create a new backup directory in your home directory. This is one way to do it. If you just said mkdir, that would not be correct. If you just did this, that would not be correct. Or if you did this, that would not be correct because how do we know it's in your home directory? If you did this, I probably gave it to you, although it says give the full Linux terminal command, like one command. I think I gave it to you if you did that. List directory contents, including the size of the files. So you have to give ls command, which directory, and -l. Linux commands, so here capitalization matters. If you said the Linux command for changing directory is this, that's wrong. type that in your terminal, it does not work. It was this. I gave you half credit if you miscapitalize, but next time I won't. All of the Linux commands are lowercase. And you have to, if Word or something, or wherever you're typing, if it tries to capitalize something that shouldn't be capitalized, you need to fix it. Okay, flag for details with ls is -l. Information about disk free space, df, there's other ways to do it. If you said free, that's wrong. Free talks about memory, not drive space. So that would be wrong. Get which directory we're inside of. Somebody said cwd, that doesn't work on Linux. pwd, print working directory. There are some other options for seeing who is the currently logged in user. Who am I is the right answer. That's what I was looking for. If you said finger, that would be wrong. I'm not going to run it right here because this is a public video. But this shows everybody that's logged in, and I don't know which one I am. But if I do who am I, that says who I am. And in particular, if you have multiple accounts on the server, if you don't know which one you're currently logged in as, that's why this is there. Okay, so finger would be wrong here. Make a new directory. Remove. Move is MV. If you said move, you were just hoping that that was the right command, but it's not. Removing files, RM, removing a directory, you can't say RM, because if you try to remove a directory with RM, it will say, can't do that, it's a directory. So you either use rmdir, or you could also do -d with the RM. The rest of these, shortcut for current directory, dot. Shortcut for directory one level higher, dot. If you said cd, that's wrong. cd is a command, not a shortcut for a directory. If you said cd dot, that's also wrong because it's a command and the shortcut. So we just wanted dot. And that was in all the study material sample quizzes going back to when we did those. Okay, the play computer, you can run this and you can run it in the debugger as well. So if you didn't get full points on this one, copy paste it into a file, run it with the debugger, and verify that the answers I have there are correct. This one here is kind of fun because we have to do order of operations. So we're multiplying a number by a string, which makes multiple copies. So what happens first is we get this, 2 times good is this, and then you add in the day, because you do multiplication first and then addition, so you get this. And I didn't care whether you put quotes around that or not. But if you put a space, it would be wrong. If you said good day, that would be wrong because there are no spaces in this. You should run it and try it out. Same thing on this one. If we look at this, the 4 and the 5 are strings. They're put together, and that's in the answer there. With the print, if you put, so this is one thing that's printed, there's a comma and there's another thing that's printed, and it'll by default put spaces in between. So it'll put a space in between this 4, 5 and this equals, which is what I have there. And there's going to be a space in between this equals and this 4. And I already have 2 spaces in there, so this would be correct. If you said 4, 5 equals 4 plus 5, that would be wrong because there's no space in between this 4 and 5. Generally on things like that I give you half. This one here is order of operations. Here we have to evaluate and only gives true if both parts are true. And one of them is false, so it will give false. This one here you have to do order of operations. What happens first? So you could do this one thing at a time. What will happen first is the AND, so this true and OR will stay the way it is. This is false and true, which will be false, and we still have OR false there. Next, which of these ORs is going to happen? It doesn't actually matter, but it will be the left one. So this will be true or false is true, and you still have this or false. Now you evaluate that OR, and OR is going to be true if either part is true, so in the end it evaluates to true. And there's no quotes around it. Some people just copy pasted this. There's no quotes, so we actually do evaluate it. These are just vocabulary. Data type that stores only integers. Int or integer is fine. Data type that stores numbers with a fractional part. Float is the function we use. In general, they're called floating point. Text data type string is the word that we use in programming for text. The rest of these are just straight off of one of the quizzes. Boolean negation in Python is not. So some people are mixing up other programming languages. This exclamation point is negation in C and some other languages, but not in Python. In Python, it's not. And same thing, and in some other programming languages is this, but in Python, it's and. Exponentiation, floating point division, we're in Python 3, where floating point division is just slash. And remainder is percent. If we asked for integer division, that would be slash slash. And that's the end of the exam. Alright, so if you got something wrong and you